I usually like to keep my reviews varied, try not to do too many game or film reviews in a row. I think it helps spice things up and keep the channel interesting. That being said, you better get ready because there's a lot of games I want to review coming up and not a lot of movies. At least until Michael comes out. Just this week, we had Pragmata, Tomodachi Life, Mouse, and the topic of this review, Replaced. Now, Replaced was a game that was announced quite a while ago, back in the old days when E3 still existed. Barely, and it was originally supposed to release in 2022, and then it got delayed to 2023 because they needed to polish it up a bit more. But you see, the developers of this game were originally based in Ukraine, so, understandably, they had to move, which pushed the game back even more. But now it's here. So, was the wait worth it? Replaced is a type of game that really you don't see a whole lot of anymore. The cinematic platformer, which basically means that your character controls like they're carrying a bag of cinder blocks and there's fall damage. I mean, the big examples I can think of are the Little Nightmares games and Uncharted, but those are both kind of their own thing, just with the cinematic platformer as a base. But all of this is to say that the platforming in Replaced is not great. It gets the job done fine, but it is incredibly clunky by nature, especially in the chase sequences. But where Replaced really shines is everywhere else. The combat, the visuals, and the story. The story follows a man named Warren in an alternate cyberpunk version of the 1980s, who after an accident gets his brain replaced with an AI named Reach. Reach, now trapped on the outskirts of the city, has to find a way to get Warren back in his body. Now, that's all I can say without spoiling the game, so I won't say any more, but the story is thoroughly enjoyable and has a host of memorable characters and moments. Throughout the game, Reach finds himself in conflict with the police and various gangs, and so has to fight them off with a really cool combat system. It's essentially just a 2D version of Batman Arkham's combat, but Batman Arkham combat is awesome, so if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The game's art style is beautiful, mixing great pixel art and beautiful lighting to really sell that cyberpunk feel. That being said, there are moments where the art direction kind of conflicts with the gameplay. Just like the Arkham games, enemies will have colored warnings above their heads to tell you what kind of attack they're going to do. But sometimes the beautiful sunset or scenery with cluttered neon lights makes it hard to tell what's happening. But this is only on rare occasions. Most of the time the game is easy to read. And then there's the boss fights, which I found to be a little too easy. Because this combat system was designed with multiple opponents in mind, when you just have to focus on the one guy, it gets pretty simple. Over the course of the game, you'll stop at a camp as a sort of break, but it also has side quests that give you boosts to help you out with the rest of the game. These parts help add a lot to the story and world while also serving as great pace breakers. And then there's the yellow paint, which, yeah, this game has, but it's not nearly as distracting as Crisol was. The whole cyberpunk industrial setting the game has makes the yellow paint make sense, compared to Crisol, which has the yellow paint on things like rocks or wooden platforms. Replaced is a game that has some pretty rough moments, but that's just what they are, moments. And I found myself wanting to push through those few moments because the rest of the game was just so good. The atmosphere, the art, the music, the combat, the story all worked together to make an experience that I wanted to stick with to the end, even through the hiccups it had. That's all I got for now. The next video should be for Pragmata, so if you're interested in that, then be sure to like, subscribe, share with your friends, and hit that bell icon to be notified for whenever I make a new video. And if you've played Replaced, then let me know what you thought of it in the comments. Okay, that's it. Bye.